Now in this video we're going to use UPD to find high demand areas. So I'm on a dashboard as if I've just logged in, and as you can see I've got one postcode area on the dashboard at the moment. That's giving me asking prices, asking rents and demand, the turnover of stock. So that's really handy, and if you want to explain those you can click on the information circle and get that information about what you're seeing there. Now, to do a bit more of a deep dive and to actually just find areas, there's two ways of doing that. First one, go to area research and you'll notice that postcode is there. Now if I wanted to compare all of the postcodes in Exeter, I can do that really quickly and easily. I simply go to new areas, I put in the first part of the postcode, and you'll see it's dynamically added all of the EX postcodes. So I can click and select as many as I like. So if I put the next sort of dozen or so in, I'll put the first 10 in actually, and click on proceed. Now it will put all of those postcodes next to one another, and I can see in a nice colourful way areas of high asking price growth, high asking rents growth, and high demand. So if it's green, it's high, and if it's red, it's not as high as it has been, or it could be a little bit better. So you can see there we've got some areas of high demand. We've also got some areas with high asking rent increases and high asking price increases. A good example of that is in EX5, 39% demand, so it's good turnover of stock at the moment. The rents are really growing quickly, 15%, and the asking prices are also climbing. And generally, as a rule of thumb, you want at least two of these in a row, three preferably. So we can see straight away how things are going. We can also, if we want to, put this data into a spreadsheet. So we can click on any one of these postcodes. So let's do EX5. Let's go down the page and click on, and you can see now it's in a table for us to download into Excel. And you'll also notice there's a lot of extra data just being added, so you can really do your due diligence here. So again, you can see what properties are performing best. You can download that into CSV, which basically puts it into Excel. But also critically, if you customize the column, this top left, there's a lot of information that you can select and add in. Probably the most important one for this is put all of your areas into a table. So if we do that, that now gives us all of those postcode areas in a table. So that gives me the ability to quickly assess EX postcodes. Now you may want to go a step higher again. You may be looking to all over the UK and want to basically repeat this process and get this data for all of the UK's postcodes. That's not a problem. The little blue button in the top right corner says all UK. Click on that. Now it won't display it in the website because there's too much data, but you'll notice just at the bottom a little pop-up showed a moment ago. I'm using Chrome browser, so that will automatically open it. Sometimes you need to go to your downloads and then click on what you've downloaded, and there you go. And as you can see, we've got all of the data into one table, going from AB postcodes right the way down. If I enable editing for a moment, right the way down to the bottom, whoops, where you can see we've got the Z postcodes. And again, just to, depending on what you're viewing this in, hopefully you'll be using Excel or some sort of Office product, you'll notice these little drop down boxes so you can sort. So if you want to, you can sort by the highest demand. You can sort it by just simply clicking on the drop down and going largest to smallest. You can sort it by price. And you can even sort it by yield as well. And any of these columns can be sorted, so you really can do a deep dive on the data here. You may only be interested in particular regions of the UK, so you can select them by clicking on this drop down, or even very specifically a postal district, so you can see all of the different areas of the UK. You can search there too. So really useful that to do a really big analysis of high demand areas. But again, just going back to the software, remember it's all about having good demand, rents going up and asking prices going up. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, a good demand and a good rent and a good asking price is an indication of high performance. These figures are not this year versus last year, they are this month versus the rolling average over the last 6 months. So it's a very different set of information than most people are used to looking at, but it's because we're using it for insight to look forwards. So we're looking for good performance in all these areas. Now I'm not suggesting you have to get all three in a row, but generally I'll be looking for good demand and good rent as a minimum. And again, you can see there's a selection of different performances there, and you can pick out which particular property types in which area are really doing well. And this EX6 is a great example of what we tend to see. The demand has dropped down to just 10%, The rents are okay, they're grown a bit, but the asking prices are up 11.5. So the market has actually responded to that surge in prices. Now that might recover, but the prices have already gone up in this area for this particular property type. If you look at 3-bed, the demand is much higher. The rents are actually grown a bit more, but the asking prices haven't responded yet. One could argue that might be at the start of a growth cycle, so that would be a hotspot, that 3-bed in the X6, whereas 2-bed has kind of had its moment, and that makes logical sense. People have bought 2-beds, people are maybe looking to move up into 3-beds and so on. So we tend to see this in lots of data. So there it is, it's all there for you. And then one final check for you to make: if you're not sure about an area, you don't know it particularly well, you want to see what the house prices are like, where is expensive and where is not so expensive, we've also got a heat map, this little button here, and that'll take you to a map of the area, color coded, so you can see there's this coding on the bottom, this legend on the bottom of the map, where you've got blue being the cheaper, going through to green, getting more expensive, going through to yellow, and then eventually red, the sort of premium areas. So you can quickly get a steer for where the more expensive properties are in this area and where the cheaper properties are in this area, and adjust your search accordingly. And of course, all of these searches can be filtered, so if you just want to look at that specifically for 2-bedroom properties, that's absolutely possible as well. You can click on apply and get that done using that. So really simple way. Area research is where you go to do that search for high performance areas, and once you've identified them, you can go shopping. One final link if you want to know the prices, little button up here just to switch that over. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out our other videos once you've identified your hotspot and your high demand area, and understand how you can then use UPD to develop your lead generation and tracking of your pipeline.